for you as a person, as an individual, as a family member, or someone involved in the political process, how important is it to keep your promises? I've got a little credibility. I used to be Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security. Do I want to be supporting an organization that I think is a terrorist organization whose ultimate goal is to do harm to the United States? I think the answer is, you know, it is not my goal, and it's not something I want to be associated with. We start having conversations, and I join an incredible group of men and women, Republicans and Democrats, military, diplomatic. You have no idea of the powerful picture it would be if you saw the assembled people, because we aren't R's and D's on this issue, we are Americans on this issue. This rises above partisanship in every manner, shape, or form. It rises above partisanship. I suspect we have R's and D's in the audience, and that's good, because this is not a political issue. It's an American issue. And I'll tell you why I think it's an American issue. Because around, I think it was 2004, once we've gone into Iraq and said, here's the exchange. You give us your ability to defend yourself, and we will guarantee you protection as protected persons under the Fourth Geneva Convention. There was no hesitation. They trusted America. Why did they trust America? Because we gave them our word that if they surrendered their own means of self-defense, we would provide that self-defense for them. How important is your word to you, to your family, to this process, and now I ask you, to your country? We take their arms. No incidents when we were in charge of security. Flash forward a couple of years, we have the Status of Forces Agreement in Iraq. We turn the responsibility over to Iraq to provide for the safety and security of 3,000 plus people who are protected persons under the Fourth Geneva Convention, and Maliki's government signs it. His word. When you get back to the office, Google Ashraf, April 2011. Have a strong stomach, because you'll see Humvees that we provided and troops that we trained enter Camp Ashraf and very meticulously mow down people like it's target practice. Remember, they have no way of defending themselves. It's not a Republican issue, that's not a Democrat issue, that's a humanitarian issue, and more importantly, our word has been, our credibility has been shaken, our word has been broken. Today, as of today, this is April of 2011, nothing's gone on. Nobody's brought to justice, everybody's kind of washed their hands of it. I could argue that if you wanted to send a signal to Iran that we're serious, we would do something very decisive with Minister Maliki, because it's apples and oranges, ladies and gentlemen. The notion somehow that if we keep these people subjected to a repressive regime in an unsafe condition, many people call it a concentration camp, somehow that means that the Iranians are going to be willing to make whatever arrangements or compromises that we need as a country, and frankly the world needs, and the people left at liberty. 42 of them went from Ashraf to the others were killed, some handcuffed, some on the gurneys seeking medical care. How important is your word? How important is America's credibility? Two final observations I'd like to make to you and share with you. It is inconceivable to anyone who has observed what's going on in Ashraf and now at liberty, for the United States of America's State Department to conclude that the Maliki government is not responsible for what transpired. There's no reason you should know this, but you cannot get in and out of liberty You couldn't get in and out of Ashraf, and you can't get in and out of Liberty unless you go by multiple pre-positioned groups of troops from the Iraqi government. The world knows that Maliki was responsible, but the State Department's in denial. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Let's talk about those hostages. The State Department has told us they're not in Iraq. It's a convenient cover-up. If you don't think they were responsible for the incursion, you certainly don't want to claim that they've got the hostages either, do you? But Amnesty International, as several of the previous speakers have spoken, have said that's where they are. And so you say to the State Department, well, if they're not there, where are they? Who took them? Have you inquired of the 42 survivors what transpired at Ashraf? It's an endless list of, frankly, misleading, disingenuous, pro-Iraqi, for whatever reason, assurances that they had nothing to do with it, and the whole world knows we're wrong, which tarnishes our credibility, in my judgment, even further. And by the way, let's not forget, 6 of the 7 are women. Not that it makes any difference, but the fact is, Maliki's troops are responsible for and involved in all 5 attacks. They know exactly where these people are, and yet we claim that there's no reason to blame the Maliki government. So I join in with the previous speakers. No aid, no support, nothing. And we can blame UNHCR, and the UN's got a lot of blame. Maliki's got a lot to people on his shoulders, almost crimes against humanity as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, there's one primary reason that there have been 5 attacks, multiple deaths, hundreds of injuries. There's only one reason that the people protected under the 4th Geneva Convention have not been provided the safety and security that they deserved. There's only one reason that these men and women have not had the opportunity to be relocated out of Iraq and then to resettlement. And frankly, the United States has to look itself in the mirror. There's a lot of blame to go around, but at the end of the day, we gave our word. And every one of these individuals that died on September 1st, 2013, probably had in their letter, they may have been buried with it if they had a chance to be buried, the letter, everybody got an individual letter from the presiding general at the time that said you are protected persons and the United States is responsible for your safety and security. It's not a partisan issue, ladies and gentlemen. Maliki's government is responsible, and we look the other way. Maliki's government's responsible for the attack in September. We look the other way. Maliki's government's responsible for the detention and probably torture of the 7 hostages, and we look the other way. I'll go back to the question that I offered at the outset. How important is it to you as an American citizen? I don't care how you're registered. It's immaterial. When your country gives its word to a group of people who have surrendered their ability to protect themselves, is it important for us to keep it or not? If you have nothing else in the world of personal relationships, domestic politics, or geopolitically around the globe, it's your word. And if you don't abide by your word today, who can trust you to abide by it tomorrow? And if we are to be more engaged in the world and not less engaged, and somebody like me thinks that's what we have to do in the 21st century, then I say to all of you, if you have an opportunity to address this issue in one manner, shape, or form, if you're looking for just one simple reason, you don't have to know about the MEK, you don't have to worry about the FTO list, you don't have to worry about anything. Because at some point in time in their lives, these men and women, and they've been preceded by dozens of others, were told by the United States of America will protect you. But for me, as an American, when we give our word, we ought to keep it. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.